Hello, my name is Matthew, and I just read The Tunnel by Ernesto Sabato, and this is a Penguin classic translated by Margaret Sayers Pedden. This is an Argentinian writer that I've never read this before. I've never read anything by the author before, and an absolute delight. This is just a fantastic book that I'm so happy that I have discovered, and I'll be looking forward to reading other things by this author. And it reminded me, it evoked so many of my favorite writers and stories, not in a way that was derivative, but felt either inspired or took an idea that I love and improved upon it and honed it. So at the beginning of the book, we have this first person journal entry. It's a first person narrative, and we realize straight away that we're dealing with a madman, and he doesn't hide the secret of the story. He tells us straight away he's in prison and he murdered a woman, and he's writing this to tell us why. And so I'm already thinking about Dostoevsky's stories, Notes from Underground, Crime and Punishment. I'm thinking about Nikolai Gogol and Diaries of a Madman, and other evocative stories like that. And crucially, this character and the writing style is full of personality, which is one of my very favorite things in any type of book that I read, where the personality is so strong and deliberate and on the page. I also find this book to possibly be an improvement on some of the stories that I've read by Dostoevsky, but because it's so memorable, economical, and efficient. I know straight away I'm going to be leading up to a climax. All of a sudden, journal entries, diaries, notes now have this twist of mystery and a element of it being a thriller. Our main character is telling me, I'm going to meet a woman, and I've murdered her, and I've been imprisoned, and now I'm going to tell you why. And then we get this story that is so intense and psychological and absurd, and there's a moment of climax that not only am I waiting to get to, I'm trying to figure out what is going to happen. And so we find our main character, who is a famous painter, has art shows. And as he's telling us this story, he tells us, I'm telling you the story of how and why I killed a woman deliberately. While he's telling the story, he can't help but digress and then course correct. So he's going off on these tangents and then pulling himself back in, as if he's somebody talking and getting off of topic and then having to say, "Whoa, I don't need to go into that." So why he may or may not like visiting other art shows, he'll start philosophizing and then brings himself back in. And he meets a woman at one of his own art shows, who's looking at one of his paintings, and it's of a figure. And in the background of the painting, there is an image of a window. And we have passerbys, we have critics, we have fans, different people that are looking at all of the paintings made by our main character. But there's a singular figure. There's a woman looking at one of the paintings, but not looking at the main object, but instead looking at a background image of a painting of a window. And our main character finds him struck in awe by this woman and her subject of focus. And he's enamored by this. And he doesn't meet this woman, he doesn't have an encounter. She leaves, and he is now fixated. And the feeling of obsession now consumes our main character and also consumes the substance of the novel as a whole. He is now obsessed with this woman, and he feels like not only does he have to find her again, but that she is going to make him whole. I have to find her. I have to love her. She has to love me. She has to love me entirely. She has to have never loved anyone else before, and she has never loved anyone else, will love anyone else in the future. And he does, by random circumstance. We have these terrific scenes of him thinking about how he could possibly meet her, but he does. And this main character is shockingly abrupt and prosecutorial and thundering down, hammering down on this woman that is shocked and demure and mysterious and sphinx-like. She recognizes that this is a famous painter. She sees his face and knows you're this famous painter. You have your paintings and your pictures of your face in magazines, and she's thinking, why would you even look to me for instruction or help or explanation? And when he says, like, we have to be together, like a sphinx, she's very mysterious and says things like, every relationship that I'm in, I only hurt the other person. And the story starts unfolding, and the mystery of this woman starts unraveling. She's married to a blind man. She goes off to the country, to this house where she spends time with her cousin. And her position in society and her position in these different relationships wavers. We're not quite sure, and we never leave the mindset of our main character. And we have this huge, determined, strong personality at the beginning, the first half of the book. There's a moment where he goes off into the country, and it's set in Buenos Aires, around that area. So Argentina, I believe. When he goes to visit her while she's at her cousin's house, and we're off location, we can see the main character becoming unbalanced. Now he's not entirely confident or comfortable as to how he's seeing the situation and how believable everything that's happening around him is. All the while, like reading an Edgar Allan Poe story or Dostoevsky or anything like that, all the while he's constantly coming up with deductions and conclusions and like a murder mystery, trying to figure out and solve the mystery or the potential crime that's happening. But he's not Sherlock Holmes, and he's not getting things right, and often he's messing things up. And one of my favorite moments, the book hurtles on, and there's a moment in the second half of the book. There's a couple of other characters that we meet that are having a conversation, and they're talking about murder mysteries written in the 20th century. One of the characters says that Don Quixote was a reflection or a reaction to the tales of chivalry that were written at the time, and that there is a novel waiting to be written in the 20th century revolving around murder mysteries. And we get this hypothetical story of a Don Quixote like character set in the 20th century that they go mad reading murder mysteries and then set off in the real world to start solving crimes. And it's a wonderful piece of dialogue and a great part of the book. And this book really felt like a murder mystery kind of turned on its head. It's psychological. It certainly reminds me of Crime and Punishment, Notes from Underground, Sorrows of Young Werther, but with the mystery and the element of intrigue built in, where you're turning the page and you want to know why. Like you know what's going to happen, but how? Why did we get there? And it's fantastic. This is a book where the personality is on every page. It's a short thing. It's something that you can read in a morning. And I think those are my thoughts on The Tunnel by Ernesto Sabato. I'll look forward to investigating this author a little bit more, but I thought I would share some of my thoughts. So let me know if you've read it. Please leave a comment if you would like, and thank you, and take care.